Welcome to the Painting Profits Podcast, where we interview successful painting business owners and industry leaders so you can scale your painting business to seven figures and beyond. I'm your host, Mike Williams with ClickWiz, and I'm here with Jeff Sommers with ESP Painting out of Portland, Oregon. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So let's get started with your story. Tell us, a little bit about how you got started, and what path in your life led you to the painting business.
Well, I grew up in a carpenter's house, and my dad always tried to find things for us to do. So had me start painting, doing odd projects and things like that. He watched me roof a house. It was totally crooked, and he had to redo my work, so he knew I wasn't going to be doing roofing. He saw me with a hammer. Man, that was bad. It was bending nails, you name it. Screws were going sideways. He said, well, maybe he can haul junk, right? And so I was the junk hauler, and then he figured out I could paint.
Okay.
He taught me how to paint really quick, and I caught on, and it was actually was therapeutic for me. It was a great time for me to think and connect and really think about, ponder life and everything that's going on.
Okay.
And listen to music, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's how a lot of painters start out, right? They get connected, and it does something for them, and it's a way to make money. And at the time I was really young, so I just, was painting a couple of rooms here and there. And then I needed a summer job, and so I was calling around, and I called a couple of people and got a job painting, and learned how to use a sprayer, learned how to use other equipment. I was 18. And then later in life, I went back to it. And at 23, I found myself in my own business. 23 or 24. Anyway, it was around there. It's been a while. I'm twice that age now. So just had a fantastic time starting the business. It was really hard. We did a lot of grassroots marketing, knocking on doors, passing out flyers, talking to anybody that I could at the paint store, sometimes even hanging out at the paint store, waiting for somebody to walk in and see if they needed help with colors. I was pretty bold at that time and chasing business. So it was a lot of fun. So that was, 1996. Yeah.
Simpler times,
really,
huh?
Yeah, similar time. But really what helped catapult the business is my wife and I were pregnant with our first child. And I had to go make money. I graduated college in December, winter term, 1995. 3 days later, our son was born. And in March of 96, I started the company.
Yeah, having kids will really change your perspective and really get you motivated, won't it?
Yeah, for sure. It makes you grow up pretty quick.
It sure does. Yeah. Well, cool. And so how did so was that ESP Painting? Did you start out with that, or did you have another business before then?
No, I started out with that.
Okay, cool.
Yep. I just, my last name is Sommers. Everybody calls me Sommers. I didn't want to be a traditional painting company name, Sommers Painting, because I didn't want those questions. Oh, do you only paint in the summer? Or, stuff like that. So Smart. I thought of an acronym, extrasensory perception. We know you need your house painted.
Yeah. Okay.
And that just kind of stuck.
It's clever. Right. And so what's your current annual revenue?
This year we're projected to do somewhere between 2.5 and 2.6 million.
Okay, great. And so how many, and you have in-house painters, right? You don't do subs?
I do both.
Both? Okay.
Yeah, I'm a mix. I'm about 50-50 this year.
Okay. So you keep your in-house painters employed full-time year-round, and then the subs as much
The
as you
subs
can.
are very, very seasonal, or if we have specific projects that would call for a sub in the winter, we would use a subcontractor.
Okay. All right.
But generally speaking, they're mostly exterior, and our
Okay.
employees would be interior.
Right. Right. So
Mm.
how many full-time painters do you have currently?
We have 11.
Okay. So how long did it take you from when you started to get to that first million a year mark?
Well, in actuality, Mike, I paused. Let's see, 1996. I grew the company to about 500,000 over the course of 3 years, and then
Okay.
put a pause on painting. And I started a different business in a different town that didn't go so well.
Okay.
And so, I borrowed money from my father-in-law to rent the U-Haul to drive our soon-to-be repossessed car behind the U-Haul to move into my parents' house. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So I started from ground zero again. And in 2003 is when I started back up in the painting industry.
Okay.
So I really took a break for a couple of years.
Okay.
And
All right.
oddly enough, I did painting in the other business too, but that wasn't our core business. I actually did painting to keep myself from going broke. So that kept that business afloat. I was painting to make money to keep that business afloat. And it just got to a point where it didn't work anymore. And I was tired. So
Yeah.
in 2003, we started. And by 2006, it was 3 years that we got to 1 million. I think it was 2006 was our first million.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So when you got back into it, was it pretty much you doing the whole, like a one-man show, like just you doing all the painting, or?
I started out directly with employees.
Okay.
I was still out in the field doing a painting a little bit here and there, but I really made it a point when we restarted in 2003 that I knew it was going to be a business and not just something to make money to pay bills.
Right.
I really wanted to formulate it. I had read the E-Myth at that time. I think it was a popular book around 2000,
Great book.
2002, 3. And that really made an impression on me.
Yeah.
And so Michael Gerber and his numerous stories of entrepreneurial seizures becoming real businesses was very, very enticing. And, I really felt that I could do it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's a great book. I highly recommend. If you haven't read it, everybody should read that if they're in any business.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
So, what were some of the best decisions that you've made kind of along the way with growing your business?
Best decisions, keeping overhead costs low, I think was a really good decision. I was in new construction for a bit, and that was part of our revenue, but I would never really make that much money out of it. I did that more to keep guys busy while I could get repaints.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best thing I did was in 2006. I started getting rid of new construction like crazy, and built the repaint business 2007, 2008. And then, over the course of a couple of years, we started to really grow, and I think we were at 1.4, 1.6 million. And then the big recession hit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad I wasn't tied to a builder at the time, because a lot went bankrupt. A couple of my friends lost their businesses because of that.
Yeah.
And I had cash flow, and I had a client base that I could tap into. That was probably one of the best decisions that I made in the business overall, was making that shift. Because getting cash now is a lot better than waiting 30, 60, 90 days or begging for the cash, hoping that you can get paid from a contractor.
Yeah.
So that was one of my best decisions, I think.
Yeah, I hear that a lot from from painting companies there that have worked both sides, new construction and residential repaint, and the new construction, the work is there when times are good, but when it dries up, it dries up quick.
Yeah,
so
pretty quick.
Yeah, and plus you're reliant on someone else for your livelihood, right? All right. So, what were some of the biggest mistakes that you've made besides moving and starting a different business?
Buying things that I didn't need and I thought I had the money.
Okay.
I think that's one of the big mistakes. A lot of contractors say like, well, I'm going to buy that, big truck at the end of the summer. And then you get this huge payment and then something happens throughout the winter and you basically are starving. You're eating, you're not eating a steak, you're eating whatever leftovers you can scrounge up from the freezer. And in February, and you wish you had the money and not the stupid truck that's in the driveway.
Yeah. So that new truck's only new for a month, right?
Right. But the thing is, people look at it like the tax deduction. They don't want to pay the taxes. Mm-hmm. If you really look at the numbers, though, if all you're doing is giving a payment or trading in your tax burden for a payment to the bank, you're actually better off just paying the taxes if you don't need the vehicle.
Sure.
Your tax liability is even lower than if you would have the vehicle. So
yeah, especially at today's interest rates.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So let's switch over into marketing. What kind of marketing are you currently doing? What mix are you currently employing to market your business?
Well, we're doing Google AdWords, SEO marketing. We're doing some marketing through Nextdoor app, some Yelp here and there, but I'm not paying for leads. I'm doing the marketing to get noticed.
Okay.
One of the key things with like Yelp is having the reviews. If you are a 5-star rated review company, or even 4.8, and you've got 30 or 40 reviews on there, people look at you.
Yeah.
People are smart enough that they know that they're getting hit with all the people they're paying for the advertising. But if they don't have any reviews, they're probably a little shaky on if they're going to call or not.
Yeah.
So having those reviews on there is really important. We're doing, word of mouth. We're talking with homeowners, asking them if they know of anybody who needs painting. We do target our homeowners, our client list with emails every so often. Occasionally I'll put an offer out there, but I don't like doing discounts. I would rather add value than a discount.
Okay. How do you do that?
Just by saying, painting, let's say, 2-room special, paint one, get the other one half off. It's not necessarily a discount, but you're getting more work.
Right.
And usually, once you're there for 1 room and you put 2 painters in there, they can easily get 2 rooms done.
Okay.
So it's a value to the client. You're getting more work. You're in their house, and then you can ask to see if they have more rooms that they want to have done, or if they know of anybody that wants any painting done.
Yeah. Okay. And do you find
that's an idea?
But. Sure. Yeah. Do you find just the process of reaching out to past clients like that, does it spark, even if they're not necessarily interested in the offer, they sometimes will say, oh yeah, I don't need that, but I need my garage door painted, or my mother-in-law needs something painted, something like that?
Yeah, usually.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
usually it does snowball into other work or other opportunities, or maybe it's not now, maybe it's later, but that's okay too.
Yeah. Yeah. So just keep in contact with your past clients, because that's the cheapest way to get more work, right? It's just reaching out to past clients. It is the
most cost-effective way to do that. And I'll be honest, I'm not the best at it, but when I do reach out, the phone does ring. I will say that.
Yeah. Okay.
Even doing some sort of a donation, like we've done Paint It Forward in past, and it's even created work. People are excited about it. I love giving back to the community. It's a great opportunity to do that, and it does get work.
Yeah. For those that don't know what Paint It Forward is, can you elaborate on that?
Sure. For us, it is when somebody needs painting and can't afford to have it done. And so what we do is we ask our clients to nominate people through a Google form and nominate people who they think would be a good fit for that. And then in the form, I ask for their story, just a little bit of information about them. And then here at the office, we go through them and then we read them to our painters. And we talk as a group, and I let our painters choose who we're going to do the work for. And last year we did, and it wasn't huge. It was 2 bathrooms, but we did quite a bit. We painted everything: ceilings, walls, trim. We replaced some trim, did some cabinets for a couple, and it worked really well. And it was just great. It was a lot of fun, good spirit, and through that, they told everybody they know who we are.
Yeah.
And they're all people with homes that could possibly need some painting services. So that was really good.
Yeah. So how do you get the story of your Paint It Forward out? Do you blast it on social media? Do you boost the posts on social media or local newspapers, anything like that?
Yes, we have done a lot of that in the past, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, great. So back to Yelp. How do you have a process for getting reviews on Yelp? Do you specifically ask your customers for Yelp reviews?
Actually, all of our employees are trained to ask for reviews.
Okay.
And the way they do it is we have a scan tag on the back of a regular business card, and it says, please give us a review.
Okay.
And on the scan tag, it links to a channel that has, Facebook, Yelp, Google, and they can choose where to put the review.
Okay, great.
Now,
Okay.
the employees, I tell them, please write your names on the back of the card. If it's somebody that mentions your name, then I give them a little bonus for that.
Okay.
But, I know paying for Google reviews is not a good thing.
No.
And they frown on that. So definitely we incentivize employees, but in a way that I think is not incentivizing the homeowner to give us a review.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And you're not supposed to incentivize getting reviews, and I highly recommend you never do it with Yelp because they'll
Totally
penalize you
agree.
big time.
They will tear you apart.
Yeah, and they'll put a big red warning on your page that that warns users that you're trying to get fake reviews and stuff. So definitely don't want to do that. But sometimes, especially for newer businesses when they're just getting started, it helps to sometimes you gotta pay a customer, give them a $10 Starbucks card for a review or something, just to get those first few flowing. But yeah, natural is much better. And if you can incentivize your employees, all the better.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. And I think a review, when people read it to show some personality of the business, actually having them list a name of an employee saying, Mauricio did an amazing job, was really impressed with him and his crew. And I want to thank the guys for doing it. I think that says a lot about the business rather than saying ESP does great work.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And do you respond to all of your reviews?
I try. Yes. I haven't been as good yet this year, but I've responded to numerous, not all.
Okay. All right. Well, I highly recommend you do, especially on Google. Google likes to see that. It helps not just with with your prospects who find your reviews online, but also with your SEO. That does help. Google likes to see that. So
Oh, that's good.
Word of mouth, you say you get a lot of referrals. Do you have a process for asking for referrals, or is it just kind of organic?
Most of it's organic right now. However, I have asked them, and it's just like um, simple when we're doing an estimate. Maybe you know somebody in the neighborhood who might need their house painted too,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
right?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of our clients have friends and family who love to refer us. I'm wondering if you have anybody that you might know that could need some painting.
All right. So, what would you say your top lead sources are right now?
Uh, Top lead source is client referrals.
Okay, good. That's awesome. What percentage of your revenue do you allocate for marketing?
Not enough. In the past few years, it's averaged around 3 to 5%.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so not enough.
Yeah.
This year, it's changing quite a bit.
Yeah. A lot of things have changed this past year.
Yeah,
Um,
it's the
yeah.
only thing you
So
can count on is change. So
yeah. You make hay while the sun shines, but you also got to be ready when times get lean. Um,
right.
so how has your marketing changed this past year or so to keep the work coming in?
We definitely increased our spending on Google.
Okay. All right.
In your neighborhood postcards, working on that, and bringing back some more direct marketing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, the in your neighborhood postcards. How do you do that? Is it you just go through the postal service and blast it out to a zip code, or what? Or just
No,
more
it'd be
localized?
through Send Jim.
Send Jim. How do you spell that?
Mm-hmm. SENDJIM. They do perimeter marketing. So, for example, you could house we're working on, you can put in the address and mail, you know, 25 homes or 50 homes in that area.
Nice. Okay.
And with
And
the yard sign out there at the same time, and then they see us working in the neighborhood, then it just kind of rings a bell.
yeah.
They're starting to connect that with more of marketing through like Facebook and stuff as well. So you can kind of tag team that.
Hmm.
It's starting to
Yeah.
be more and more common, I'd
Yeah. In
say.
between that and setting up the Facebook pixel on your website and all of that, and then seeing your Google ads, building that
Mm-hmm.
omnipresence can really, really, really make a big difference. Great, great. So, what does your sales process look like? So, once you get a lead, how do
Mm-hmm.
you manage that lead all the way to the point of sale? Actually, I should say more like to the point of um, to when the job's finished.
To when the job's finished.
Sure.
Um, well, we have softwares that connect through Zapier um, from the beginning to the end. And, the client does get a confirmation of the estimate, and we call 30 minutes before we go to the estimate just to ensure. We ask during that time that we will need at least 30 minutes to an hour. And that also says it in the email, but we ask for it again. And then we ask if we can introduce ourselves really quick before we walk around and take a look at the project.
Okay.
So the sales process would go, the salesperson shows up on time. If you're going to be 5 minutes or more late, then you have a call or a text letting them know that you're on your way.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go through our typical sales process. It starts with a statement about who we are and what we do and what our agenda is for the appointment. And then asking the homeowner specific questions, walking around the house, doing our takeoffs, things like that. Once we're done with the takeoff, we spend a little time to write the estimate. Our goal is to write the estimate right there if we can, and present the estimate. and then overcome any objections and see if we can get the person on the calendar. If they're a serious buyer and they don't want to make the decision, I totally respect that. But I do show them what the next steps are and how they can get on the calendar. I think it's important that they know that part of the process so we can get them scheduled. Then we have a follow-up process, which is usually calls, emails, texts, and then going through. Once person's onboarded, we've got our office staff will take care of getting the rest of the documents needed, helping out with colors and things like that. And then moving forward to the week of the paint job, our project manager will call, coordinate anything that needs to be coordinated. If we're going to have a subcontractor crew, we definitely talk about that. We are upfront with the homeowner. We let them know that we're using a subcontractor that will be managed by us. It falls under us. I think being straight up about that's important.
Yeah.
And not having a bait and switch, so to speak. So once that painting project is in motion, our project manager comes by or communicates daily with the homeowner to make sure that they know what's going on. And then we have a final walkthrough and a collect the check and or credit card payment at the end of everything and asking for reviews and referrals. And then moving from there into what it looks like, our relationship looks like over the next couple of years as we warranty the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's a pretty standard process, and that's just kind of a roundabout way of doing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What do you use for your CRM and estimating and software?
Our CRM is called Copper.
Okay.
And what Copper is it's a web-based application that sits in Gmail, and it reads all of our emails and categorizes our email conversations. And so we can keep pretty good record of what the client said, what they didn't say. It's also an app on the phone that you can text through, you can make notes, and we can attach all our documents to it. So we have a good record keeping process. It also has a pipeline that will move people through the pipeline as we move forward.
Okay. What do you use for estimating?
Right now we're using Estimate Rocket.
Okay.
Yep.
And then you use Zapier to connect the two.
Yeah, to connect it. Yeah. So I guess our tech stack, I think that's the term.
Yeah.
Would be Acuity for scheduling appointments. Estimate Rocket would be Copper. We use a time clock called VeriClock right now.
Okay.
And that's just our record keeping for time. We're using, Basecamp for running the jobs. And then, of course, QuickBooks QBO.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. It's important just to be able to have that a CRM and the connectivity between them, just to prevent holes and people falling through the cracks. I think in this day and age, it's a must-have. There's a lot of different CRMs out there, but
there's a lot of CRMs, and you know what? I've looked at a ton of them. They all kind of do the same thing. You have to just pick one and stick with it.
Exactly.
I think that's my advice on it. Just stick with it.
I used to use Copper a long time ago, and it was a good, simple, basic CRM. Doesn't have a lot of the crazy bells and whistles that some of them have, but the connectivity to Gmail was really nice. And,
it's actually saved us quite a bit.
Yeah, just finding something and sticking with it and making it work for you, I think is the most important thing. You don't necessarily need the most the newest and hottest apps out there. Sometimes that shiny new object syndrome can just really slow you down.
Yeah, for sure. I can totally attest to that.
I get
I've done that If you ask anyone in the office, it's like every year, what's this guy going to come up with now?
Well, that's our job, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Hey, I'm the
Yeah.
visionary. I'm supposed to come up with all this stuff.
My wife, who's kind of my partner in crime here as well. It's same relationship. I come up with these changes, and she's like, "Oh God, what now?" So,
Yeah. Well, I was scolded last year pretty badly, so I think that we're sticking with what we got right now.
yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Great. So, how do you ensure with either your painters or your subcontractors? How do you really ensure a great experience for your customers?
I think the biggest in assurance is communication.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Yeah.
communicating the process and being there to answer questions. Being excited about being there, I think, is a big deal. Especially during a final walkthrough, looking at the house, wow, what a significant change. How do you feel about this? And then they get to tell the story of, yeah, the first time I saw it, I drove up, pulled in the driveway. I felt this rest of reassurance that, the house is taken care of, and I love the color. It's really easy to get caught up in, as painters, as saying, oh, well, we did this and we did this and we did this and we did all this. And customer doesn't necessarily, they do care about that, but they don't want to hear about it. They want you to listen and
Mm.
how awesome it makes them feel.
Yeah.
And I think building on that rather than doing, oh, but we double check the caulking here twice. And yeah, you're going to get some people that may tear your job apart. That's just, those type of people are out there. And just listening to them, understanding what they want, restating it back, you can fix those problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's just listening and building on that is a big deal.
Yeah, that's powerful, and it's really all about how the work makes them feel, not necessarily the technical parts of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Although I'm really interested in the technical, most people
they're
aren't.
not.
No.
Yeah. Well, cool. First of all, how do you find the best painters when you need to hire?
Usually just through asking our employees. That's been a good place for us. We've done some recruiting through some schools with some mixed success. But we've had a few kids come through. When I say kids, I'm talking 18-year-olds.
Yeah.
that really work out. And then they find out that, you know what, this isn't a fit, I'm going to go back to college, or this isn't a fit, I'm going to go. We had one painter who went to auto body school and now he paints cars. But it seems to be like a training ground for entry-level position that somebody could learn and find out if it's something they want to do. Sometimes I've used Craigslist. I know that's can be really tough. Occasionally we find somebody through there. It's just a mix of things. Asking around in any organization you might belong to. If it's a networking organization, and that's how I got a couple employees, is through our LaTip networking organization. And other people are hiring at the same time we are, and someone might not be a fit, and so we share those leads back and forth.
Okay, nice. What's your process for weeding out the best from all of the applicants? What's your hiring process there?
It's about situational questions.
Okay,
that's pretty much it.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah. For example, let's say you're painting in someone's home and you found that something was broken and you didn't know if it was anybody on the crew. How would you approach other crew members about that? And would you tell anybody, and why?
Okay.
And I get to see character.
Yeah.
I can't train that. That's innate. That's something that they were built with.
Yeah.
I can correct some mistakes here and there for painting, but man, character, can't do it.
No. That's good. And so you've obviously built a great team and you have a good culture. How do you cultivate a good company culture?
I think it's through communication, it's through respect. I think having fun together is important, and we laugh a lot during our training meetings, and we'll do some role playing every so often, and that's always fun. That brings the fun out.
Yeah.
Definitely having some contests, having some, a company party or get together. I think those things are really important to create culture. It's important to keep things a little bit light, but yet have some seriousness to it. Just being serious the whole time is not fun for anybody.
Yeah.
So keeping a little bit light is important, but making sure that people understand that you're serious about the business.
Yeah. Good. Well, awesome. Yeah. Any last words of wisdom for up and coming painting contractors that you'd like to give?
I think the best thing that has served me well is the fact that you have to be willing to listen and learn, and you have to be willing to make the mistake or have somebody help you with the mistakes that you're making. It's part of the business. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not be the one who's always right.
Yeah.
And you can learn a lot in this business, not only about the painting business, but about any business. A lot of the skills that you learn here in running this business actually correlates directly across to numerous businesses across the board. So I just say be willing to learn and listen. I think along with that, build your network. Building a strong network of people that you know and meet with that know, like, and trust you is super important.
Yeah.
It's not always, sorry, Mike, but it's not always the internet.
No,
It doesn't necessarily build that. So
I get it.
Old school grassroots stuff is networking groups, belonging to organizations where you can build relationships is huge. I think that's really important, and I see younger businesses miss that.
Yeah. Yeah, because a lot of the younger guys, they're probably going all in on digital and not out there in the community and building their network.
Yeah. And it takes time. It takes time to build that network. It's not an overnight thing.
It does. It's an investment. It's an investment in your time, but it pays dividends. Absolutely.
Oh, definitely, for years, years and years. Things come back around.
Yeah. Well, great, Jeff. I think this is a great conversation, and I really appreciate you coming on the podcast here. And thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Mike, for helping me with my internet forever, with all the website stuff that you've done and the rebuild after rebuild after rebuild. So appreciate your hard work in that.
It's my pleasure, and thank you for being a great client. I appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks.